Well, today is Tuesday, February 13th. The Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and I'm heading south on Highway 2 in Calgary because an old friend, one of my YouTube subscribers, and he lives in Edmonton. And he came over to Calgary for some kind of a concert, not sure which one, and he came with his son, and he texted me yesterday, said, you know, you want to go for a lunch or dinner or something. But yesterday I was working, right? So we agreed to meet today for brunch, and time now is 20 to 11 in the morning, and so I'm heading pretty much downtown. Give me a name of a restaurant. It's probably close to the hotel, but it's a good area for me as a transporter because it's right next to downtown. So after I have lunch, I'm gonna go and try to make a few bucks. No progress yet with my Class 4 license goal, but I wanted to do a medical sometime this week, maybe Friday. Just need to find a driver clinic.
Video protected.
Yeah, why are we driving so slow here? It's because of these trucks. Speed limit is 110, 68 miles an hour. And so yeah, nothing yet on my Class 4 license, but at least now I have 5 with air brakes endorsement. So which opens more possibilities, you know, for work. So I keep checking online classifieds, you know, like Indeed.ca for jobs. But honestly, I've been looking for something more to kind of like, you know, with a leisurely schedule, because I'm not a fan of, you know, 10-hour days, let alone 12-hour days. Because then I won't be able to do my freight brokerage, you know, or photography or something like that. So that's why I was thinking that, yeah, like doing what I'm doing now plus taxi, you know, that's a great way to complement my freight brokerage, because I hope it's going to pick up in the spring. Oh, by the way, I haven't heard from that guy who was buying a crusher machine. So I gave him the quote, found a couple of carriers, right? So hopefully it'll come through, and I'll get my first load of the year. Because the last one I did, it was that ambulance I moved for the gentleman from Florida, and the ambulance went in December from Ottawa, Ontario to, I think it was Miami, but somewhere in Florida. So definitely want to continue that. So I have my load board, I have my bond, I have all the documents, you know, like the templates I created. So now I know I don't use those crazy TMS. You know, with the volume I do, it's kind of like the same, you know, when I was a trucker, right? Like people would tell you that you need some kind of a dispatch software. I found that it did not work for me. When I was a trucker, so I created a bill of lading and an invoice. like two templates in open office, right? And then when I have a next load, I'll just go to my folder where all my carrier documents were, and one of them, inside one of the folders, was invoices, and the other one was bills of lading, like two separate folders, right? And I would open the last one, the last bill of lading, and just change the number to the next consecutive number, and of course change all the fields: shipper, shipper, consignee, description of the load. But so I did everything manually, but I don't know, it worked for me very well, because I only did maybe 2 to 4 loads a month, right? With a volume like that, you don't need any dispatch software. And I still have all my bills of lading and all invoices on my computer. So if somebody wants to get a package, like, remember I was offering for sale those Excel weights, like a spreadsheet with Excel weights, where you can see which states give you good weight on a quad, like a 4-axle trailer, and which states you need a 2+2 or 3+1. So it took me a while to compile that. So I still have those. So I think the price was $250 US, and so I can also add one of my bills of ladings and an invoice, so you can copy, and they are in the ODT, open office software, which is the same as Microsoft Office. So once you open this ODT file, you can save it as a Microsoft. It's a Word document. Or just got a message that my friend Mark is already at the restaurant. So it's one of those kind of like Denny's, except local flavor. It's called Phil's Restaurant, and they have quite a few locations in Calgary and throughout Alberta, I believe. So yeah, it would be good to. I met them before with his son when I was in Edmonton. Oh, I was with my truck. Yeah, I was in Edmonton after I did the delivery, and so he was following my travels on YouTube, and he knew that I was there, and I think I parked the truck right next to that. There was like a truck stop with a nice restaurant that locals liked in Nisku, which is a suburb of Edmonton. And that's where we met first time. And this guy, he's a driver as well. Last time we talked, he was driving a fuel tanker truck, with a fuel trailer. So and as you can see, unlike what's happening now in northeast US, we have very mild weather. No snow. Well, actually, I did see like 1 millimeter of snow on the windshield of my Jeep when I woke up, but everything melted because I don't know. Now it's maybe the ground was warm. I don't know, but like you see the road, it's all pretty much clear. So very nice weather to be outside. And I brought my camera with me because sometimes I see, it's been a while since I shot anything for my Instagram, which is dedicated to my photography, not the freight broker business, but photography. And that's where people can see my work, and they can,
meters. Use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto John Laurie Boulevard Northwest.
And they can book an appointment, right? So far this year I did one project for a gentleman who owns that hair salon, and I think the feedback was positive. But one thing I found is that
use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto John Laurie Boulevard Northwest.
You know, they ask me mostly for a video, right? And so, but I took a lot of pictures as well, and I found that the best video was...
Continue on John Laurie Boulevard Northwest for 2 kilometers.
The best video came out on a GoPro, on a Nikon, even though I use my Z6 or Z6 II, even though it has, allegedly, it has stabilization. And I also used, besides the sensor stabilization, I used electronic stabilization. And still, as I was walking through that hair salon, you know, hand holding the camera, from the Nikon, it came out jerky. So I could not use it. I could not give it to the client because it was not, you know, totally not professional. But the GoPro, turns out, has a much better stabilization, and plus it was a super view, like very wide angle. And of course, the wider the angle, the more stable the picture is, right? But Nikon was super great for shots, you know, just like photography. I took a bunch of shots of the, you know, shelf with the product. They came out really nice. And so now I've been researching for a stabilizer.
In 600
because
meters, turn left onto 19th Street Northwest.
Because if somebody else asks me again, you know, to shoot a professional quality video, I need a stabilizer. And I saw them on Amazon, but they're like a good ones, you know, like $200, $300, $400, even more.
Turn left onto 19th Street Northwest.
I think that's where I'm turning. Yeah, I'm about 7 minutes. 3.6 clicks away from the restaurant. And they just sent me a text message. I didn't touch it, I just saw it on the screen. It popped up saying they're already at the restaurant. So that's my morning. So
continue on 19th Street Northwest for 3 kilometers.
Yeah, this is already good area. Like, I did some deliveries over here. Usually people tip very well, you know, in these rich areas. But my goal is to add taxi work with either Lyft or Uber, and this way I can cancel Uber Eats, because that's the most worthless endeavor I ever tried, because everything is super cheap. It's like 50 cents a kilometer, and I mostly use DoorDash. And so if I could get Uber Taxi and Lyft, then I would just use, you know, 3 apps on my phone. DoorDash for food and liquor, because I can do liquor deliveries, and then Uber Taxi only. I'm gonna, you know, they give you a choice when you register Uber Taxi. You go inside the app and you can choose, like, do you want to do taxi and deliveries, or do you want to just do food deliveries, or just taxi? And so you can just uncheck that box, food deliveries, and then they will only send you taxi requests. And that's what I want to do. So I want to use Uber and Lyft for taxi, and use DoorDash. You know, if taxi is slow, I don't see there's anything wrong with, you know, delivering a couple of bags. You know, if the pay is good, if they give you like 10-20 bucks, you know, in tips, it can even be better than taxi. Because one thing I'm afraid about taxi is that I think it'll definitely put more kilometers on my Jeep. Because with food, you know, I can choose, like, I normally choose only high paying orders, like, you know, $2 per kilometer on all kilometers. Let's say I'm sitting 3 kilometers away from a restaurant, and then they send me, and then let's say the order picks up at that restaurant 3 kilometers away, and then it just goes 4 kilometers to the customer, so 7 kilometers total, and it says paying, you know, 10 or 14 bucks. So that's, for me, that's what I find is ideal. So this way I don't put too many kilometers on my Jeep, you know. But with taxi, I'm pretty sure there'll be more distance will be covered. So anyway, so that's my update. Okay, where are we? Well, I think I'm like 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers away from the restaurant. And actually, this is the time, you know, I like, I don't have breakfast usually. I just have some tea or coffee, but then I always have, you know, lunch, or maybe call it brunch, earlier than most people. Back when I was in Cambridge, I would often go to something like Boston Pizza, and they opened at 11:30, and so that's why I would go, you know, have some salmon or some chicken with a salad, you know, like a nice lunch. And so some places open at 11, I would go at 11, right? Some places open at 11:30, I would go there at 11:30. And so, and then I just have dinner probably around 5 o'clock, 5 to 7, and so I only have 2 meals a day most of the time. So trying to lose some weight. Oh, and I started talking about Pluto TV that I installed because I saw a commercial where it says free TV. Of course, there's a lot of commercials in there when you watch movies. That, you know.
In 300 meters, turn right onto Trans-Canada Highway, Alberta 1 West.
Like every 15-20 minutes, there's like a 5-minute pause for commercials, you know. But they run like some old movies, and I just spend the morning watching.
Turn right onto Trans-Canada Highway, Alberta 1 West.
Watching Walker, Texas Ranger. And this Chuck Norris doesn't seem to age, you know, at all. And I looked up the date.
In 500 meters, turn right.
I looked up the date when that particular episode I was watching was filmed, and it looks like it was the last season of that show, and it was 2001. And I looked up the biography of Chuck Norris. He was born in March of 1940. So in that movie, he was either 60 or 61 years old. And he definitely looks way better than me, and I'm 62. So I started searching for his biography, and then found an old interview he gave to Los Angeles Times where they asked him, what does he drink? And he says mostly water, and the only thing he said he drinks,
destination will be on the right.
the only thing he said he drinks besides water is something he called Chuck Norris Kicker. And the reporter says,
your destination is on the right.
The reporter says, what is that? And he says, back in 1972 when he was in the army, he was stationed in Hong Kong, and he was friends with Bruce Lee, I believe. No, that was later. But you know, Bruce Lee was from Hong Kong, right? But when he was in Hong Kong, he liked drinking tea. And so once he went with his friends to a restaurant and he ordered tea, and his friend said, why don't you try that tea with this, you know, sweet, something like amaretto, except it was called Grand Marnier, something like that. And so he tried that, and I found the recipe online, and so that's what he drinks. Basically, he says depending on the outside weather, he mixes that liqueur with either cold tea or sweet tea. And I did not even know that there's so many cocktails you can make with tea. So I definitely want to try one tonight. You know, just maybe mix it with some herbal tea and some brandy. So you don't need to use something sweet like that, because that what he calls Chuck Norris kicker has too many calories, because those drinks, they're like pure sugar. Well, I'm doing some transporting in downtown Calgary, so I thought I would show you guys. Like, the lights are beautiful and traffic is not too bad. Yeah, supposed to
use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto 1st Street Southeast South McLeod Trail. In 800 meters, turn right onto 11th Avenue Southeast.
Yeah, it was a bit slow, but what's interesting is, as soon as I finished that lunch with my friend and his son, and then he also invited another guy, so there was like 4 of us, and I started the app for DoorDash and Uber, and within 5 minutes I had the first order from the same restaurant. So it feels a bit weird, you know, to go back inside with that thermal bag and the same waitress that, you know, I don't know if she remembered me, because it was like 10 minutes after, you know. And but she looked at me. I said, yeah, I'm doing Uber. I think it was Uber. Turning right somewhere here. So this is the very downtown. Straight ahead on the right, that's the 8th Avenue. It's getting a bit chilly. Yeah, so I got my first order right from the same restaurant, so I had to explain to the server what was I doing back there. But she kind of looked at me a bit funny, you know. And one of the guys, so my friend Mark, was he's a former like fuel tank driver. Then his son works for the city, so he also drives like a, you know, for a municipality. Like, he drives a snow plow, you know, stuff like that. So he has a class 3 license, or what's known as a DZ in Ontario. I hate this tunnel. It's so narrow. Man. Okay, where are we turning? Somewhere here.
Turn right onto 11th Avenue Southeast. Continue on 11th Avenue Southeast for 3 kilometers.
time now is 6:30 pretty much. Doesn't seem to be too busy. I don't like driving, you know, like in traffic, but at night the downtown does look pretty good. And I just did first, basically I picked up 2 orders from the same restaurant and just drop off the first one on 9th Avenue, and after 6 there's free parking, right? You don't have to pay. But again, all the spots are taken, so I had to park like 200 meters away from the building and then just walk. Like the worst order today was probably they sent me to a shopping center, like, you know, where inside the mall you have a food court. So some guy orders some Korean food from the food court, and of course you cannot just drive in your car inside the mall, right? So first off, I found parking maybe 300 meters away from the entrance, so I walked that, and then inside the mall that food court was, I don't know, half a mile away, you know, like maybe not half a mile, maybe like 500 meters, I don't know, 1/3 of a mile. And so basically I did like 1,300 meters from my car to the food court and back, and then I drove 20 kilometers, 12 miles. Guess how much tip the guy gave me? $2 Canadian. $2. And I knew that it was cheap, and you know, but when I took it, I see by the distance and how much it pays, I can see that the tip was very low, because it was like 20 kilometers for, no, actually from that it was like 13 kilometers, but I had to drive 6 kilometers to the shopping center, and I think it paid like $14 or something. And the only reason I took it is because it was going into a better area that was supposed to be busier. And so I wanted, like, my first reaction when I clicked finish delivery and it shows me the final and I see tip $2, my first reaction was go back to the house, knock on the door and say something like, "Excuse me, sir, I just wanted personally to thank you for the $2 tip." But then, of course, you know, they can complain, they can give you a bad rating. So I didn't do anything stupid. I just dropped it in front of the door, took a picture, delivery complete. That's it. Now this is my second delivery from the same store. And so the first one was an apartment building, and this one is, well, this one seems to be a house because there's no apartment number, and my instructions are handed to me, which is always good. So that means that I can leave my phone in the car. I don't have to take it with me, because if it's handed to me, I don't have to take a picture. Yeah, so we're just western part of downtown, and so I'm turning somewhere left on 17th Street southwest.
In 200 meters, turn left onto 17th Street Southwest.
I can actually turn here. Maybe not.
Turn left onto 17th Street Southwest, then turn left onto 12th Avenue Southwest.
That's why.
Turn left onto 12th Avenue Southwest, then your destination will be on the left. Your destination is on the left.
No fucking.
The customer requested you hand them the order. Additional instructions are provided in the Dasher app.
Alright, that's it. So let me go find my building and drop off the food.